The fact of the matter is that none of my stuff is actually age appropriate for anyone, according to the algorithms that are out here. But it's the fact that I'm like not being allowed to work under any kind of circumstance. Not only like working for money or a paycheck, but working in just my general ability of my brain working correctly because of a calculated assault on my life, a poisoning, an arson. I believe was an arsenic poisoning on top of whatever else they would do. Who knows what all they had done. But if you can't be allowed to live since you're a young child, toddler, teenager, growing into your adult years, still be played inside of this proxy that people are like generally thinking that it's schizophrenia, depression, anxiety, whatever they can just placate it onto, but it doesn't indemnify the truth being their crimes. But sorry, I'm just finishing a cigarette here. The fact of the matter is that these people haven't been allowing me to work, and I'll just explain it briefly. Growing up, it would just be anything to stop me from working, like anything at all. And then on not only that, they didn't want me to finish high school. They would have set up an assault over me, and then lie about it, like within my own family, like my own blood brothers, especially one blood brother, I should say, setting things up in that fashion. But it was both of them. I mean, it's not like one evil is better than the other. They're both they're both evils in my life. To suggest that they cared while performing in otherworldly fashion. And so it would just be setting in the stages for me not to even be able to finish schooling. Then it was like trying to get my GED. There was a newcomer there that was definitely trying to stage me from being able to continue to go to the GED school. So I was jumped in my own backyard. They clotheslined me. They used their fists and other weapons. I'm very positive there was guns in hands. I saw guns in hands. I was scared out of my wits' mind. And then they used a Louisville Slugger and beat me to shit. And I held on to that fence for dear life, because otherwise I would have been corralled into a trunk of a car. And my life was at stake. And my life's always been at stake, to tell you the truth. Almost kidnapped 3 times by the age of 11, having Danny Heinrich, who I think was the person who hit and run me. My dad stalking me, my dad setting up this proxy along with my brothers and Jesse Lee, along with my just not being available or allowed to love and be loved in return. Fun stuff. Real fun. So, in the later years here, so what I was wanting to really touch on is because it leads me till now. where I'm just not being allowed to work, and it's also taking away EBT, which I wouldn't even need, like the SNAP benefits and whatnot. I wouldn't even need if I was just allowed to work, and not be poisoned by proxy to snake away my performance abilities at Strong at this place. And then, so if I'm not allowed to work, performance wise, without, wittingly knowing what was happening to me, I was unwittingly being poisoned up by a proxy made lover. And this one was like, it allowed me to see the crime, so I'm like thankful to some level. I mean, I don't know how, but I'm thankful to some level that it was her and it was a paid proxy, because she did not have the same heart as, say, Emily Dodge or others in my history, where it was like, now I can totally understand that I'm up against a really, really bad, really horrible crime against me. And for the longest time, my whole lifespan, lifelong of crime happening to me. And then you go to the cops about it, the cops don't care, because it would basically have to throw like some people in their precinct in jail. The system doesn't care because they would have to throw judges in the jail. And I just don't think that demons in this world aren't more prevalent than there are good people anymore. Like, I don't think it's even close to 50% against 50% when it really boils down to it. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but I don't see that there's good people in the world anymore. I don't get me wrong, I believe there are good people in the world. It's just they're so few and far between that there's no power in their hands to actually fix the crimes that there are. And so that's why civil war happens. That's why like we're at like war right now for our life. Because and that's what they're trying to make, like all censored, throttled, and not age appropriate and whatever with my content. But it's like, it's seriously, my story should be on the news. Like I should be able to reach a journalist and reach out to one channel of a journalist, and that journalist should get to the rightful person to like get the story on the news. But the news media is controlled, you see. The syndicates of these types to perform identity theft, perform trafficking, perform ritual abuse is being protected, and that needs to be seen if we're going to stop it at all. Like, and if we don't, life as we know it is surely probably over. I mean, my life's been over since I was born, basically. I have never had an availability of being an organic origination of a person, just left alone to dream or do anything, do anything at all. And so the job that I had before Strong was working for cash, and which was the same place I was poisoned up at by Jesse Lee when I was in the homeless shelter. I'd just gone back to work for him. And I was also doing DoorDash. Well, the idea of me doing DoorDash wasn't to help me. And I realized this, so it was like, okay, I can't just my brother would always suggest, well, why don't you just work a regular 8-hour day and go home and get some proper sleep and whatnot? Well, because that doesn't help me fight covert abuse or covert warfare. Gee, like, you make no sense. And obviously he wasn't supposed to make sense because he was part of the proxy that I didn't see at the time. But my other brother set up the car accident against me, and it worked well with Jesse Lee to poison me up to take my cryptocurrency away from me. So it's like all my writing money throughout, like, I don't know, 3.5 years or something like that, 4 years, just completely gone. Like, and like I would literally had needed TCF to stay TCF in order to like establish the correct paperwork or like figure out, like, there's just so much involved in like trying to like collect the proof that they're like legitimately staking away my proof or stealing away my proof, just like, Jesse hacking me on my computer and my journal going missing, completely like gone out of my computer. I've never even seen anything like it, but that's what happened. And I wholeheartedly believe it was Jesse because he's the hacker in the situation, like the main one that is working within this crime syndicate against me. And he's also been the one that's been the most psychologically damaging to rob me of my love life, to set up love or to be in the way of love in my life, to then stage it to where he can try and create the most psychological damage as possible to hurt me in the worst ways, and especially in the recent, to take me not only away from my availability of actually living through this stuff, which is, attempted murder, for crying out loud. And then on top of it, it's like, just, it's so damaging to a person that, like, a lot of times you can read stories, like, with, like, 1/10 of what's happened to me or less, where people end up in such bad way that they take their own lives. And so it creates a suicidality, is what it does. And I'm not suicidal. So they were trying to stage that up to where either way, no matter which way I would go to fight the crimes happening to me in the covert warfare against me, that it was to stop me from allowing me to speak out, which is like why they throttle my work. They hack my Facebooks, they hack my phone number, they hack my email, they're trying to take over my life. It's like the total takeover of all of my energy, all of my ability, all of my love life, all of everything. And so I'm like out here legitimately asking to try and find help, like, where's help regarding like what I would consider the most serious and heinous crime of its type happening to anybody else across the whole continent of the United States, including Alaska, and probably including a lot of other places in the world. So I'm just holding on tight to my resolve because I really have a cool mission. I really like, being left alone, I would be a really good drummer. I can't smack that snare drum anymore. There's just certain things happening in my life based on the methodical poisoning of me that's stopping me from being able to be me in the general anymore. And it really sucks because it's just a death. It's a death of me while I'm alive. It's not just the death of me in general. It's like the death of me when I was a baby, the death of me when I was a toddler, the death of me when I was growing up and growing into my teenage years, a death of me to become an adult and do adulting. It's a death. And the death is to say, like, I don't have right to life, liberty, happiness, the pursuit of justice. I don't have rights. My rights are gone. The government is like a complete shit camp, and that's basically another reason why they're suggesting age appropriate type of things over my life on the algorithm here. But age appropriate or not, like, you're not getting the news. You're getting a controlled syndicate of the news. You're getting a controlled education. You're getting mind control. It's just too much. They've gone too far. It's too much, too much, too much, too much. And so I personally know that there's 12, 14, 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds that get this stuff. They totally, like, understand better than the adults do this, what I'm, like, actually coming out saying. And so with that being said, is that granted, I don't think it's age appropriate for anybody, but I don't think that it should be something that can be censored or throttled or gone around, because I'm dealing with what's the heaviest crime against me. And so before that job, doing the door dashing and whatnot, I was working for another metal place, doing chem film, and I was a great worker. Like, I worked really hard, and it wasn't until I was being poisoned up by proxy again, and Jesse being there to poison me, but I think that they also allowed to hire somebody that I just don't think should have been hired. Because again, I literally thought that she put something like some of the chemical that we used for the chem film on these parts, like, in a drink of mine, like, even if it was just a little bit. I don't know what that's capable of doing, but it's really horrible to think that somebody's inside of your own workplace that's even willing to do something like that. But that's how these syndicates work, is that they pay people off to, like, get you into a place so that you can hurt one person. Like, say if somebody was going to be offering a person $10 million to do something like this, you don't think that they wouldn't have a hard time finding a person to perform a task? No, they're not going to have problems at all. And the reason is because money is, people are so hard pressed for money. It's not like it'd be that hard. And I'm not saying it would be $10 million, but for all I know, it could be. I think the cost of my death in and of itself has costed well over $10 million. And so, with them not getting it in the end here a few times, it pissed my brother off. Yeah, I could feel it. Like, I absorbed his energy over the phone, calling him the next day because I had figured it out. And so I'm like, and anybody that's there for you, anyone that's really there for you inside of your love life, or that cares about you inside of your family life or anywhere else, is just, they're not going to treat you like they've been treating me at all. It's not love. It's not in a state of love. It's just nothing that is familial. And you shouldn't have to familiarize yourself with something as unwittingly happening to you as a methodical poisoning, not to mention all of the other methodical psychological abuses and just everything that they did to want to hurt me. So it didn't stop me from working. I was still working. It stopped me in my performance, and it stopped me from having a normal I don't know, I was sweating things out like, what the fuck? Like, type of shit. Shit was coming out of me like, holy crap, dude. I'm like, my body's detoxing from this shit, whatever it is. And on top of it, I couldn't really think straight. So, at times, you just don't know what to do. At one point, I fell to the ground in tears, alone, inside of the building. So when I locked up and left, I got in my van. I drove to where I was living with yet another proxy, I believe, that I was just in such tears. I was like, I didn't know what the fuck to think or what the fuck to do about my circumstances. It was just too much stress. Just far, far too much. So that's when Emily got involved, and she was definitely a proxy to love bomb me, to take me out of there, suggesting that I'd be fine in my go with her as far as being in a relationship. But then I was being treated like I was just a roommate. You know, I was not gearing towards family at all, and I could see it right then and there. That I was like, this is not at all what I would have, like, signed up for as far as, like, a love life is concerned. And then from there, it just went downhill really bad. I was poisoned. Almost died on the side of 35W, going to work for that guy, like I said. And either way, it staged me to not have a job, like a job, a real job. So I had to think about my way out of that situation. That's when I was doing the door dashing, and that's why it was set up to be in an accident, stopping me from working a gig app. I was also hacked methodically. That was to stop me from that. I barely got back onto my DoorDash while having my Facebook, email, and old phone number taken away from me, and I was just about, like, to lose my availability to log on to DoorDash as well, because I had to switch my email, like, right there in the parking lot. And these people know what the fuck they're doing. They know me too. They know me. You see what I mean? It wasn't just normal hacking. It was legitimately a hijacking of my whole life. Like a methodical, total takeover of my whole life, and my life's energy, and my life's plight, and my life's love life, and my life. Like, legitimately my whole entire life. And so, here in the recent now that, you know, I got through St. Paul Park after getting out of that place because she couldn't tolerate the detox smell of, like, poisoning, and I don't blame her. But no, it's just pushing me into a situation after situation, you see. So now that I was in St. Paul Park, it was having Jesse do that, and actually the first time after Elk River, which I didn't have the memory of Elk River, otherwise it would have been the same thing as when I was 17. Like, I just did not want Jesse in my life. I just could not remember that fact until calling back my autonomy in this place. But he came up in there, poisoned my food. Kenny came there and poisoned me up in Metamucil and told me to take it all. Got really mad at me when I was suggesting I'm not going to take any more of it. Like, it's not making me feel well at all. Like, I was feeling, like, powered up and had energy and all this and that beforehand, and taking that stuff just completely wiped me back 10 years. Like, I'm not going to take it. You're not going to get mad at me, and if you are mad at me, I'll give you the $13.95 or whatever it is, and fucking you're an asshole. I was like, legitimately, like, you are a fucking asshole. To even suggest that I should take something that makes me feel like that. When I didn't even need it. I didn't even need it. Like, I didn't ask for it. I didn't have any problems there at all. It was just like, I don't know. If you wanted to help me, like, maybe you should have bought me some Jello or some food, like boxed and not fucked with. You know what I mean? But that just wasn't the option. It wasn't the case. It wasn't the actual like remedy that they wanted for me. They wanted me at that point inside of their own property, so that when Jesse got there and did what he did in the first place, that it was to get me to fight him inside of a place that wasn't mine, so that when the cops were called, that Kenny could be like, oh, well, do this, just take him out of there right away, that type of thing. But they totally fucked up my life. They totally fucked up my life. They totally fucked up my life. So now that I was poisoned up in that place, and I couldn't see who these people still were, I was getting a house, and it was through my own brother being the broker that couldn't get me an FHA loan, which I think is completely silly. That he wasn't able to get me that FHA loan to suggest that I'd be paying a whole lot less per month than what I was paying. And nothing like goes back. Like, you can't go back on things like this because you got a fucking fraudulent broker, unless there's something to deal with the government that allows me to fucking live a fucking life, for fucking Christ's sake. But they're literally staging me as the felon. You know what I mean? Like, because all the last 24,000 attacks didn't have him lashing out and doing what we wanted him to do. Now we got him just saying something on YouTube that we're just going to utilize as a crime, while not looking at my full content. No, can't do that. Can't look at the full content of what I'm actually saying and what I'm actually trying to do and what I'm actually trying to move like. But just the grimiest, dirtiest crime that can be placed over my life to push me into reaction mode, and then they're going to utilize that reaction. Okay. Real smart system we have. Real fucking brilliant. Real brilliant. They too fucked up my life. So I wouldn't have moved here, is what I'm going to get at. Is I wouldn't have gotten here in the first place. I would have just decided to fucking do something else. I wouldn't even have cared what. Just anything else than trusting these people. I needed to get away from these people, and I had been trying to for a long time, and I just couldn't see after being methodically poisoned. I couldn't see to reason. Reason had no name. Type of thing. But so now that I'm here, they fucked up my job by proxy. Then all of my gig apps, they're hacking my phones, hacking me. She was still trying to control my life. Push, pull, push, pull, push, pull. I'm done here. I'm done. You're either here, or you're not here, and you're not here, so you're not here. It's not like I'm going to go back on that decision. You know what I mean? Like, you moved in this way, you can stay moving in that way, and I don't want anything fucking to do with you. And then it took me a long time to get away from her and Jesse, who has been just a nightmare. He's a fucking piece of shit, that man. Like, I don't care what anyone says. That man is a fucking piece of shit. And then, so, like, just to suggest I don't have the right to call back my autonomy when I'm dealing with fucking premeditated murder, premeditated fucking proxy war, premeditated psychological abuse, premeditated fucking trauma bond times trauma bond times trauma bond to perform in a very malignant, narcissistic way to perform the whole discard all at the same time. Like them, my brothers, everybody. Yeah. Real fucking grimy, dirtiest of fucking grime you could ever imagine. And then me and cyanide attacked after getting away. Like, fucking A. Now it's like I'm trying so fucking hard to work and it's stealing out my money from hacking, it's stealing up my energy from setting up me around any corner that it can fucking take. And then, like, legitimately reaching onto my Facebook, going into the settings, going and finding out the places of where the phones are, and I'm here. I'm here with my phone here, seeing her phone in right where she lives, tracking me. So I got rid of that one, before, a little bit before this. And it's like, dude, they've been fucking tracking me and GPSing me and locating me and hacking me and hijacking my life and moving in this covert fashion and psychologically being abusive and very malignant, covert, narcissistic, freaking close in on this person's like my life, poisoning me up by fucking design in a very methodical fashion of a warfare and crime over my life. So now that I'm in this situation and the state wants to run over me with game fucking bullshit to suggest that I'm a criminal after all of this abuse, put this upon me. Like, I'm sitting here now completely under from where I would have been, like, topping, just being able to be left alone, or what would have even been better is just actually having a support system that was my support system and a real support system, not a proxy made support system meaning to do what they were doing. That would have been nice. But now that I'm in this situation, it's like my license, my car, my home, my everything, can't eat. They're taking away my SNAP benefits. Like, what do I fucking have but a warfare from the time I, was born till now? To, lead me in 2 stages to die. Just die, Matthew. Fun stuff. Not so fun at all. But so that's why I'm just today, I'm just so fucking tired. I'm just so fucking irritated, tired, fatigued. Just, I don't get through a day without crying. I literally for the past 2+ years, I have not gotten away from a day without crying. And it happens so suddenly. It'll be like I'm lamenting me. Like I'm lamenting the death of me. Internalizing all of the ages of my life where I had literally been killed out of my brain. Fun. So fun. Thanks for loving me so much. Thank you. Thanks so much. You're such a loving... Oh, that's so sweet. Methodically poisoning me up and stuff. So just having your system gaslight you the same way. It's just so lovely. It's just so loving out here in the world that we can call this life and living. And it's just great. It's just fantastic. Being starved completely out of your life. And then people to suggest, oh, there's nothing to see here. It's not warfare. Age restriction. So I guess enjoy your Disney movies. Made by your very methodical, whatever, shit camp artists out here. But yeah, my whole life is fucked. And I mean my whole lifespan. My whole life long. Every little of my life. Breathe in. Breathe out. All been taken from me. It's all been taken from me. Every last little hair-splitting second has been hijacked from me. It's so much fun living. So I guess Jesus was right, and he was absolutely telling the truth when he said that in the end of times you will deal with more persecution than even I. And he dealt with a lot of persecution. But he even wasn't born in a state of the art of warfare. Not like this. He dealt with worse in the end of his life. But as far as I'm concerned, what would even matter? What would even matter? It's not like I can get the years back in my life. It's not like I can go back to 7 again and live my life all over again. My brothers are complete assholes. My dad. And all of these proxy syndicate types. Every last one of them can go themselves. They can go to fantasy gifts. And you know exactly what they can do. They don't even have to bring their wallet or their change or anything. They can just go live at fantasy gifts. If you catch my drift. Fucking whatever. I hate this world. Because this is not living.